said I struggle to get in line. Hustle from the bottom, the customers don't lie. 365 is in dead and the phone shine. Hustle till I die, so whenever I shine high. You're from California.
What up, though, people? It's your man, Prof, and this is another episode of Cigars With Friends on the Real Ish Radio Network. Last week, I had my sister on the show. We spoke about her new book that she released, and it's ironically now I got my cousin on the show, and he just dropped the book. So we definitely about to chop it up, go in a little depth about the book, and just talk about life. On this podcast, it can go anywhere, and that's just what we do. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring him in. What up, though?
What up, though, cuz? You all right?
Man, you need to let me know. I still have my do-rag on. I'm out here tripping.
Hey, get it together, man.
I know, right? It's a lot going on, man. Like my daughter was using my computer. She was editing some video and just kind of got me a couple minutes behind schedule. But we're gonna make it work. So what's been up with you?
Man, just been grinding, man. Working. Hanging out with the fam. And more importantly, man, just knocking this book out. And actually, it's my first book. Got it published. It just went up live on Amazon December 5th.
Dope. That's what we're gonna dig into. So let's talk about the book. The title. Where did the title come from?
The title came from Close But Not Close is the title of the book. Just introduce myself to y'all. I'm Jonathan Tate. Honestly, y'all know, Rodney is my cousin as well, like real blood cousin, not fake. But because people be like, "What up, cuz?" Like, nah, we're blood relatives. But Close But Not Close came from the fact that my father literally lived 4 streets over from where I grew up. So I grew up in River Rouge on Polk Street. He lived on Bassett, and we never had a relationship, like ever. So, I would see him, throughout the neighborhood, because, a long time ago, we had to go to court for child support and everything. And basically he denied me at birth. So, I knew what he looked like and where he lived, but we just never had a relationship. So, I was going back and forth one day with my homeboy at work. My shout out to my big brother, Dewan Turner, because we were going back and forth about our relationships with our fathers. And I told him, what was going on and everything and the dynamics of everything. I mean, we really didn't have a relationship. So even though he was so close in proximity, so I'm going back and forth with Dewan, and he was like, "Man, that's a book." I was like, "Nah, man, that ain't no book. Like, I'm not a writer. I write papers for school. I write a grocery list. I do what I need to do in terms of writing a report for work or something like that. But I'm not an author or anything like that." So one day, I just sat down and started writing, and probably about November of 2019, that's when I got started. And it just took off from there. But yeah, Close But Not Close is because of the proximity. We had close proximity, but we didn't have a relationship, so we weren't close in that aspect,
That title actually is heavy, man, because like my dad was in my life, but we had like an off and on type of relationship. And I remember I went like maybe 3 years without seeing him, and literally I'm in Ecorse and he in Ridgewood. If you're not from our area, that's pretty much the same city. It's only one street that divides it. So I totally get the that title, man, being that close and not being close. That's heavy, bro. So writing this, what emotions did you tap into? Because I know, like, my father passed away, and like I said, our relationship was inconsistent, I would say at the best, but it bothered me, you know what I mean? Even though we wasn't as close as I think we should have been, for the entirety, but we had our spurts. So was writing this book therapeutic for you, getting things off your chest, and just because sometimes we don't have someone to vent to. You know what I'm saying? Like we always bring up mental health on this show, and just, you know, in our community, a lot of people don't like to talk about this shit or go to see therapists, whatever. But was this a load off of you getting this, putting pen to pad, to actually putting your emotions and putting how you felt on paper?
It was a major therapeutic piece for me, because it forced me to deal with some stuff that I buried. As far as, first and foremost, the pain of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as men, you know, we learn to deal with pain. We learn to bury pain. We learn to, you know, just kind of set it to the side, because we still have to be men. You know, as a father, you know, you got to protect your children, and you got to provide, and, you know, you got to basically be strong, you know, in every aspect, so that you can move and groove. But the first thing I had to deal with was the pain of not having my biological father involved in my life growing up. You know, so
Okay.
for years I buried it. You know, so when I started writing, first and foremost, I had to deal with the pain of that. You know, and you know, once I started writing and expressing my feelings, you know, I actually would share with a good friend of mine. She's passed on now, but she was a clinical therapist, and she said that, you know, I said, it seems like writing is therapeutic. She said, extremely. Like journaling and all of that, dealing with the pain of it first, you know, and then secondly was the sadness, you know, like how could this dude be so close but not want to even be involved with his own son, like his biological son, you know. And even in some parts of the book I talk about, you know, I got into kid trouble, but I never got into major trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. For sure. That we lost your sound. Bring you back. John, you there? Yeah, we just lost sound on you. Let me try and get him back. John, can you hear me? Well, as y'all know, when you're doing live shit, sometimes you have technical difficulties, and we just lost sound. Let me try and get your sound back. Well, as he get back together, we gonna hold on, give him a minute to jump back on. Somehow his sound cut out, but that's what happens when you're doing a live podcast. When it's not pre-recorded, so shit happens. We just have to roll with it. We're gonna give him a minute to get back in. But anybody that's tapped in right now, he has just released a book. It's called Close But Not Close, and it's on Amazon, available to purchase. So make sure y'all support that. Hopefully we can get him back. I don't know what just happened, but like I say, that's the woes of going live. You know what I'm saying? You never know if it's gonna fade or not. But in the meantime, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like it, share it, also on Facebook, and if you get a chance, go to youtube.com/realishradio and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get that following up. We're doing real good on Facebook, but I want to definitely get them numbers up on our YouTube page. So make sure y'all go to YouTube, tap into Real Ish Radio. Hopefully we can get John back on here real quick. So as we work on that, I'm gonna roll a quick promo from our other shows.
I am excited to talk to my ladies primarily. And guys, if you want to be here with me, hang out. I want to welcome you into my space, my world, my thoughts, and I want to share them with you. And I hope that it inspires someone. It brings about some transformation.
Hi, I'm Blaine, host of Live with Blaine J, a podcast that airs right here on Realish Radio. Every week, I connect you to all the people, brands, and businesses you need to know about. I'm gearing up for season 2, and I can't wait to talk to you. So keep your notifications locked right here to Realish Radio.
Let's see if we can get him back on the line.
Cuz, can you hear me?
Yeah, now you back, man. I don't know what happened, but
somebody was trying to dial in, and I'm like, it's like the
Oh
worst
yeah,
time
you might
ever.
have to put that boy on do not disturb when you're on here because they'll definitely bump you out. But it's all good, man. Shit happens. Like I was telling the people that was watching this live TV, it's live, so we gotta
Right.
do what we gotta do. We gonna roll with whatever
Hey,
punches.
real talk.
Yeah,
But
but jump back in where you was at. You was telling you that your coworker, who's a clinical therapist, was telling you about how therapeutic it
yeah,
was.
so she was saying that I said, it seems to be that writing is extremely therapeutic, and she was like, yes, like that's why she would tell people to journal and to write their thoughts and their feelings down. And once I started doing that, I started dealing with the pain and the sadness, and then more importantly, the anger. Because I grew up and I was close to like my friends, their fathers, and like
Mm-hmm.
I said, I was pretty much a good kid. You know, got good grades, stayed out of trouble, played sports. Just responsible cat. But I'm like, how can this dude be 4 streets away and not want to have anything to do with me and like deny me at birth? So once I started writing, it forced me to deal with it versus burying, those thoughts and those feelings. So I would tell anybody like writing is extremely therapeutic, and it will really help you in terms of processing your thoughts and your feelings.
For
So
sure, man. I think people use different outlets. I think one for me was music. When I used to do music, I think that helped me vent and get shit off my chest. But people need to find whatever outlet it is can help them because bottling that shit up at the end of the day, you're only gonna hurt yourself.
yep.
And so you got to find some type of avenue to get it out, whether it's through therapy, whether it's through music, whether it's just kicking it with your homeboys, sports, whatever it is to get your mind to release it. Because you bottling all that shit up. It's not you. At the end of the day, your pain is caused from somebody else, but you gonna inflict the pain on yourself holding it in. But the backside of that is that's what we've been taught. As a man, you don't show emotion, you hold everything
Yep.
in, you take it on the chin. So we've been taught so much shit backwards, you know what I'm saying, in life. And it's a lot of
Hmm.
these things we need to break. And hopefully we can break it within our generation so our kids won't follow into it. Now, going through the process of writing this book, you saying you're going through these emotions. Did you find is your father still alive?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
have y'all had a chance to try to reconnect?
Well, I'll give this piece because I don't want to, spoil the book.
Yeah, don't get a
Because
whole book, but just
I want people to, still get out and support. And, pardon my, rudeness, but because I appreciate the platform and the opportunity, and the invitation, because literally people don't understand, you know, we basically talked about this yesterday, and
mm-hmm.
now it's going down. So I appreciate it. So shout out to you and everybody that's watching, everybody that follows you. I will continue to support this podcast
For
on the
sure.
strength of you were the first, literally, to reach out in terms of an interview per se, and you sharing your platform. So I appreciate you.
Oh no, that's no problem. You know how we do.
But yeah. So what happened was, one of the bakeries in the neighborhood, and this, People's Bakery.
Mm-hmm.
I would frequent that spot, for years. So one day I saw his car at the bakery. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop through there, you know. And I walked in, I ordered something, and he was actually, you know this because you've been there before, but People's Bakery it was a small, black owned business. So it's not like you could avoid people in there physically,
Exactly.
because it was so small. But I walked in and I turned one day and I spoke, and he didn't speak. Like he looked at the floor and like
Mm.
ignored me. And that burned me all the way up. Like, because I'm like, at the very least, you could speak, you could say hi,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I was hot, like steaming. I mean, like where I had to just I pulled off, but I had to pull over because all I saw was red. Because I'm like, at the very least, like I don't want anything from you as far as child support or expect you to, be this, you know, Cliff Huxtable type father to me at,
Mm-hmm.
in my 40s. I just wanted you to speak and not be rude. So, you know, believe it or not, and I did obviously write this in the book too. Hump, shout out to Mike Davis. Um, actually pulled up next to me. He had saw me pulled over and he said, "Hey, what's going on?" I said, "Man, I need to talk to you." So he
Mm-hmm.
got out he got out of his truck and jumped in mine and said, "Man, what's going on?" So I told him, the story I just told you. And he said, "John, he doesn't know what to say to you. He doesn't know how you're going to react. It's been 40 plus years, so he was probably afraid, you know."
Yeah,
And I'm
that
like,
makes sense.
I know we're big guys, and that's because of genetics. It is what it is, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't look at myself as an intimidating figure, even though cats, tease me about favoring Suge Knight,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm John. I'm silly, I'm cool, calm, collected for the most part. I'm a laugh and be, silly and jovial before I'm just gonna be some mean bully type guy. So when he said that to me, I had to sit and think about it for a second, like, "Oh, dang, bro, you probably right. Like he doesn't know what to say to me. Like he doesn't know what my angle is at this point." So when he pulled off, because he was on his way to work actually, and I sat there for a minute and I cooled off and I was like, I think, Mike was right. He doesn't know what to say. So, needless to say, because when you're in Rouge Southwest E-course, you're going to see people. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
we would see each other a lot in passing, So, finally, I saw him, from different times at the bakery. And it was times I didn't speak, and then I let it be, but eventually we did make contact. But believe it or not, well, not believe it or not, but the details are in the book. But
Definitely, we definitely
yeah,
get that out in the book. So, how does that affect you as a father?
in the beginning, when I first became a father back in December 2005, to me it was like I'm going to be the total opposite that I
Mm-hmm.
received. And I do have to back up and say, you know, my grandfather, Lynn Tate, was basically my father. Like he was
Mm-hmm.
the one that showed me and my brother Jeremy how to be men and, raised us up as his son. So I did have a father figure. And then even in the book, I detailed like some of my friends' father, and I named them by name just to show them love and respect and,
For sure.
gratitude. I named them because they kind of filled in the gaps too. But for me, when I became a father, I was like, I'll be that cat that shows my son how to fist fight. I'll be that cat that, will coach if I can, if I had an opportunity in his activities. I'll be the guy that shows up for parent teacher conference. I'll help you with schoolwork. I'll, teach you how to, walk and talk and ride your bike. So it motivated me to be a more hands-on father because technically I didn't have that, from my
Mm-hmm.
biological. And even to this day, I got two sons, 15 and 14. and they're high schoolers and teenagers, moving on to do their own thing, but I'm still involved in their lives, and it forced me really to be a hands-on father, and I love the relationships I have with them, but that's what it did. I was like, I'm not gonna be like that guy.
Yeah, because growing up like that, it can go either way. You can even repeat what was done to you, or you can do the total opposite. And some people
Yeah.
fall into that same system because they never had a father, so they never know how to reciprocate that love that they was missing. Then some of us be total opposite. Because I'm just like you. Like I say, my father was off and on, and like I say, we can go years without seeing each other, living in the same neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Our relationship was different than you and your pops, but I always was like, nigga, I will never be like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been hands-on with my kids. Like my youngest daughter never rode the bus. You know what I'm saying? I took her to school every day of her life to this day. You know what I'm saying? She's in high school now. You know what I'm saying? So I always had that in the back of my mind. But then dealing with issues with my oldest daughter, I could see sometimes that I would have some issues like my father would do. You know what I'm saying? Like I would distance myself if her mom was on some bullshit. At points I would distance myself, but then I had nothing to do with the kids, so I had to reel myself back in. You know what I mean? And it's weird. Like even back in the day, I had a song that said, "I'm a mama's boy with my daddy's ills." So I know I got some of his traits. So I have to fight them. You know what I'm saying? I have to fight those traits to be the man that I want to be for my kids. And it's crazy that even if the relationship don't work, it's crazy how normal it is for the father not to be involved in our community as far as with their kids. You know what I'm saying? And I'm hoping that our generation breaks that cycle. I remember one day I was at I want to say 10th Street in Soliet, and I was picking up my daughter, letting her mail a letter. I think I'm mailing a letter to Santa Claus, some silly shit like that. But an old lady pulled up and just stopped and like busted in tears. And I'm like, "You okay?" You know what I'm saying? I know what she like. I'm just so proud to see that. And to me, that shit is normal. You know what I'm saying? But to the world, it's not. Like if somebody see me with my kid, "Oh, you be such a good dad." And like I don't be wanting praise for something I'm supposed to do. This is my job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But in our community, that shit is so normal that it's almost, you know what I'm saying, we almost rare to some people, you know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that even though what we go through with our fathers, we can break that cycle and start a new foundation for our kids to see this is how you're supposed to be as a man. Take care of your kids, no matter if you and the woman not together, that's still your child. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think kids need to see that, and we can set that example because, like you said, you wanted to do better, but some kids naturally do what was done to them, not even knowing that they're doing this subconsciously. Like they think that shit is normal, which is not. You know what I'm saying? And that comes with now your kids out in the street because the streets is raising them and you done got your hand on them. You know what I'm saying? It goes into a whole bigger problem. So I definitely salute you for being a man that you are to step up and take care of your responsibility, because a lot of people veer from it because shit, they didn't have it and it's unnatural to them. You know what I mean? So like I said, you can go left or right in that situation. And I think doing a book, man, is super dope because you putting your pain out and you need to release that. And then for two, somebody reading that can help them because they might have went through something similar. Our stories might not be exact, but they definitely are similar. You know what I mean? Like
No
when you
doubt.
broke down the title, it kind of hit me like, shit, I know exactly what you mean. Like yours is more extreme than my situation, but I literally remember being at Polk and Visitor at the gas station and Bloach coming outside and say, "Hey, man," because he called me Little Red. He said, "Hey, Little Red." I'm like, "What up, Bloach?" He said, "Man, your daddy in there." And I mind you, I ain't seen this nigga in 3 years. And I live in Ecorse on 10th Street, and he lives on Ridge on the white side. You feel what I'm saying? It just kind of threw me off. You know what I'm saying? That just shit was so weird to me. Like, if I'm out of town working and I go a couple days without hearing or seeing my kids, nigga, I can't function. You know what I'm saying? And I have the same feeling. You feel like, how can you go without seeing your son? And I ain't never been in no trouble. I'm a college graduate. I've never been to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, I did all right. And you ain't had shit into this. You know what I'm saying? So when you say certain things, it triggers me as well because I know that story. You feel what I'm saying? It's just not it's a different extent, but it's still the same story. You know what I'm saying? It's a story that needs to be told, and I think that people need to definitely tap into that. And you say it's on Amazon, right?
Yeah. So, Close But Not Close is listed on Amazon, and it's an ebook which I offered at $9.99, and the paperback.
Very affordable.
What's that?
Very affordable.
Oh, definitely. And the paperback is $14.99, but actually, man, it's a good quick read, because I know people don't have time to go through and read a 300-page book, but literally, like, I've had a couple of my friends reach out and say they actually three of them that got their books before I did, and they said they read it in a day,
Cool,
like
cool.
maybe a few hours, like. So I've been telling everybody, you can grab the book on Amazon, and if you read it, just drop in the customer reviews, what you think about it on Amazon. But yeah, it's available, man. It's live, and I'm excited. I'm
Yeah, this is
overjoyed, and I hope that people get something from the book. Like you said, you have a story that's similar to mine, and I believe there's so many other people that have the same story. You know,
And if they don't have the same story, reading it can may give them some perspective on somebody that they deal with that has that story. Because
absolutely.
dealing with it, is different. You know what I'm saying? People, you don't know everybody what they went through or what, you know what
No.
I'm saying? Like, even like I say with my situation, like I say, my dad was off and on. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, you know what I'm saying? And we had a relationship. I'm not gonna say we didn't, but it wasn't the relationship I wanted. I wanted more. And now
Hmm.
he passed away. We can't mend that. You know what I mean? That it has ran its course. And and I didn't know how it would affect me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm stubborn. I'm stubborn. I could be an asshole when I want to be. So I
I,
bottle up my
I
feelings
agree
as
with
well. But when he passed away, like it was weird. You know what I'm saying? Like at the funeral, the wake I was cool, and at the funeral I lost it for a minute, and then even a year later on his death day, it came back. I just had a weird feeling the whole day, and I just emotionally was all over the place. And, my wife and kid ain't never seen me like that, so it kind of threw them off. Like, we
you.
ain't never
Hmm.
seen him show this emotion. So the love is still there, even though it wasn't what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? And it ended shortly because he died at 57, which is still pretty young. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And but it's like I don't feel like our relationship got closure. And I'm not saying that you have to get closure with your pops, but I think in some shape or form, we should try at least to have a conversation with him because, man, sometimes people run from their problems for different ways. Sometimes it's just be irresponsibility. Sometimes it's drugs. Like when I really I used to hate my father at one point. I used to tell people he was dead. I used to tell people he was in jail. But I hit about 27, I think I hit the mental age where I let a lot of that shit go. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
When I turned 27, I took a step back and said, let me look at it from his lens. Now, mind you, he's a teenage dad. He already lost his father. Then at 18, he lost his mother, his sister, and his niece in a house fire. And
Wow.
the crack era hit. You feel what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So to handle all that at 18, and I'm 41, and if my mother and my sister and my niece died at the same time, I would be fucked up too. You feel what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I had to
Same
be
here.
man enough to accept some of his shit was bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
even one of his hospital visits, he broke down and said I should have went to therapy after the house fire, and I was shocked. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
I was like thinking to myself, like, nigga, you should have. And then me and my brother, we sitting at the hospital. This is maybe 3 years ago, a couple years before he passed. And he told us he loved us, right? Man, I'm 38 years old at the time. This nigga ain't never said he loved me. So me and
Hmm.
Raphael looked at each other like we didn't know what to say back because we were so shocked. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I shouldn't, as a man or just as a child, you shouldn't hear your parent tell you he loved you at 38.
No.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At
Cause
30,
every exchange that me and my sons have, I always end with that.
yeah.
Like, I love you, and you know that's that. But what you raise a good point, because that's one of the reasons why I actually started writing, because I was talking to my buddy, my big brother Duane, and he said, he brought up what you just said, like, you don't know his perspective, you don't know what he went through, you don't know what his story is. So I started writing, shortly after that. But when you talk about like mental health, for example, so the therapist I was referring to earlier, that was my oldest son's mother.
Okay.
So she passed away from COVID in May of 20.
Wow, man. Sorry for your loss.
So
Sheesh.
appreciate it, man. So the first thing I did is I connected my son with the therapist, so that he could, because he was only 14 at the time. And he still, to this day continues to speak with her, because due to COVID, couldn't do office visits. So,
Did the telehealth, right? Through
right,
the Zoom or
telehealth.
something? Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I've watched him learn how to process his thoughts and his feelings, by being involved in therapy. And I tell anybody, like, and I told him, I admitted to him, because, my mom passed away in July 2006. And I told him, I said, listen, son, if I could go back and do it different, I would have jumped in therapy right after that. Because even though my mom, was sick, she was young. She was like 54. She had congestive heart failure. But, to deal with that is traumatic, because for me, I felt like that's all I had. So when she left, I felt like an orphan, because it was like, my father, he ain't doing nothing. We don't have a relationship. And then I'm just out here, but I'm a new father, at the time. So I just pumped my energy into raising my son and being with him, but you're right. Like, sometimes people walking around angry at their parents and they don't know the other side of the story, and it's important, so
Yeah,
I
it's
agree
just a
with you.
different perspective. And like I say, I didn't forgive everything, but it kind of made me understand a little bit more. Like as I was getting older, I was learning more about mental health. You know what I'm saying? And notice that that's
Hmm.
trauma. You know what I'm saying? And not to say that's an excuse, but it's real. You know what I'm saying? We got to
Right.
accept the fact that that's a lot for an 18-year-old to deal with. And then right after that, fucking crack era hits, and now you hustling and using. You know what I'm saying? So all that
Right.
affects your judgment and your decision making and things like that as well. So always, I gave him that. I guess grace, you would say, and it just was a realistic thing, and I just think people need to look into that as well, because our community's we've been hit with so much different shit, like back with the welfare situation when the social worker didn't want the man in the house and this, that, and the
Hmm.
third, and drugs in the community. It takes a lot on us to just survive through that, just that, you know what I'm saying? So, and I did the telehealth. I went to therapy in the summer after my father passed. Like I had in my 2020, I talked about it on the podcast before, but I had caught COVID in the middle of March. And when I went through the quarantine stages, 2 days later, my house caught on fire. Then we
Wow.
stayed in a hotel for 45 days until the insurance company found me a rental property. Get a rental property. Within a month, I shot my first wedding of the season, because most weddings was getting canceled because of COVID. And I'm literally about to shoot this lady wedding, and I get the call that my father died. And it's
Wow.
not I don't work a regular job. I can't just say, shit, I'm punching out. This lady's special day. So I actually had to work, which I think it probably was the best for me, because to sit home and dwell on the shit would have made it no better. But I literally had to shoot a wedding an hour after I found out my father died. And I'm literally
Wow.
there doing the pre-shots, you know what I'm saying, right before the ceremony. And I just had to get through the shit, you know what I'm saying? So I sat with a therapist, we talked and, got some shit out my chest. And I think it helped me get some clarity on just, that's a lot to take on at one time, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I just think as men, we bottle and channel so much shit up, and it can turn into such other things. It can turn into rage. It can turn us taking it out on the person that don't deserve it. You know what I'm saying? In our
Hmm.
relationship, even for our kids. So I just think whatever you can do to release it, like you say, writing helps you. Talking to a therapy, doing music, playing sports, or watching whatever it is you need to do before it affects you and somebody around you.
I agree wholeheartedly, man. I always share with my sons that, they say, Dad, why you get up so early, and go to the gym? And I work out 5 days a week. And I always tell them the same answer. It's therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
I need that physical outlet, because growing up, that's how I dealt with my anger, or pain or sadness,
Hmm.
is I had to do something like play sports or exercise or take a walk. I had to do something physical to release, that pressure and that tension. But as I've gotten older, I realized that you have to find other ways, to deal with those thoughts and those feelings, and sometimes, like you said, it could be talking to your homeboy, it could be writing, it could be going to therapy. We have to explore those different avenues and
100%.
actually, go down and execute, depending on which avenue we choose to travel down so that we can deal with that versus walking around all tensed up and bottled up, and then you lashing out at your kids and, the people that you know and love, because the people that are closer to you are the ones that catch it.
Yeah.
We have to do different as the leaders in the households, so it's definitely something that I try to practice what I preach in that,
Dope. That's a good thing, man. And like I said, I'm glad you had the time to come chop it up so we can let people know about this book. And just to tell you a story, man, because a lot of people have this similar story, man. It's something that's all too common, and I think that they can get something out of it. And if you don't have the story, it may help you understand why your spouse is like this, or why your cousin is like this, or why one of your homies is like this. Like it's something that they might be dealing with that you don't even understand because you didn't live it, and that might can give you some type of perspective on it. So I definitely think that that's just a good thing, man. And I'm proud of you, man, because that's hard to do. For one, it's hard to write a book just off rip. That's hard to do anyway. But to be vulnerable and put your life in book form, for the world to read, you know what I mean? So I want everybody to make sure they go check out the book. It is available on Amazon. You can see it on the screen. You can get it in Kindle form, and you can also go get a paperback. If you get it in Kindle form, of course, that's digital. You'll get it instantly. And if you get it in paperback, you'll get it in a few days. What's your social media in case anybody want to follow you and contact you after they check out your book or just want to get some more insight?
Actually, I'm listed on Facebook just under Jonathan Tate. And I tell people, the spelling of Jonathan is just Nathan, because people will butcher my name, even though I think it's so simple. But I'm on Facebook under Jonathan Tate. And that's pretty much the only social media I have at this point. But feel free to reach out to me. I do respond. I do read, posts and comments and things of that nature. But I really, really appreciate your support. I think, I know it's something that any and everybody can get from this book,
Yeah, man. So I want all my listeners, man, so it'll be a good stocking stuffer if you celebrate Christmas. So make sure y'all go to Amazon.com and search Close But Not Close by Jonathan Tate. You can see it right there on the screen. $10 for the digital version, $15 for the paperback. Make sure y'all support that, man. I think it's a good deal because I'm definitely gonna get me a copy. I'm gonna go digital. I like to go digital, so I can always put everything on my tablet. So when I'm on planes, that's what I check out when I'm on the planes. And appreciate you, man, chopping it up with us, man. Anytime you want to come back, talk about more of the book, or if you're thinking about writing a follow up or whatever you need, what I'm saying, this platform is always open, man. And we definitely gonna support you over here at Real Ish Radio.
Hey, I appreciate you, man, for all the Cigars and Friends, man, this platform. Thanks, cuz. I appreciate you. Nothing but peace and love your way.
For sure, man. We're going to do what it do. Hang on for a second. We're going to chop it up offline once we get done with this. So everybody, I appreciate y'all hanging out with us today. We had a little technical difficulties early on, but you know what I'm saying? That's what happens when you're doing live. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it doesn't work out, but we pop back up and got the story out. But I want y'all to make sure y'all check out that book, Close But Not Close. It is on Amazon.com. $10 for the digital version, $15 for the paperback. And also like and share this video. Let's run these numbers up. If you're on Facebook, like and share. If you're on YouTube, like and share. And if you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, we're trying to get those numbers up, man. We do get a lot of love on Facebook, but we got to get that over there on YouTube as well. So go to youtube.com/RealIshRadio and you know what I'm saying, support the team. And you can go to my Instagram at RealIshRadio or Prophecy313 and go to the bio in the link tree where you can download the Real Ish Radio app and you can connect with us on all our social medias, man. We appreciate all the support and we'll chop it up with y'all next week.
Hi, I'm Blaine, host of Live with Blaine J, a podcast that airs right here on Real Ish Radio. Every week, I connect you to all the people, brands, and businesses you need to know about. I'm gearing up for season 2, and I can't wait to talk to you. So keep your notifications locked right here to Real-ish Radio.
I am excited to talk to my ladies primarily. And guys, if you want to be here with me, hang out. I want to welcome you into my space, my world, my thoughts, and I want to share them with you. And I hope that it inspires someone. It brings about some transformation.
Said I struggle to get mine. Hustle from the bottom, the customers don't lie. 365 isn't dead and the phone shine. Hustle till I die, so I never have shine.